I think the international community has really seen events in Hong Kong over the past 4 months or so, and they've been deeply moved by the determination of Hong Kongers to defend our freedom, our democracy, for human rights, and as a result, the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act has finally picked up momentum again when Congress reconvenes next week on Tuesday after Columbus Day, that the first 3 agenda items in the House of Representatives are all Hong Kong related. The top one is the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act finally, and I look forward to seeing that get passed. And then there's also the Protect Hong Kong Act, which is the piece of legislation that would guarantee that US-produced anti-riot gear will not be exported to Hong Kong for use by police to crack down on human rights. And there's also a joint resolution affirming American commitment to seeing democracy in Hong Kong. I think some of you may have received postcards, here, or you can grab some from our volunteers later. But while the legislation will highly likely pass the House of Representatives next week, we still have to get it through the Senate, and before both chambers pass the bill, then it will go to the President's desk to become law. I think we can all help Hong Kong by writing to your senators and making sure that he or she will support the bill. I'll stop around here, and then I'll look forward to hearing other speakers speak. But again, it's very good to see everyone here, and I look forward to everyone's support in terms of moving this bill along, and in terms of future protests here in New York and elsewhere around the world. I guess I can, for those speaking Cantonese, 廣東話我哋嗌幾個口號，咁我就俾下一位講啦。五大訴求，五大訴求，光復香港，光復香港。OK， 多謝晒各位。
I won't say much. I was involved many years in Hong Kong, teaching for 30 years. And so I guess I'm a Hong Konger. I was debating, I have a t-shirt at home that says I'm a Hong Konger. I was debating whether to wear it, but I didn't. But because of the need for black, right? One of the things that my students have heard from me over many years, because I teach international human rights, is that human rights are only as good as the ones you demand. If you don't demand human rights, you don't get them. And I think the students in Hong Kong have taken that to heart, and I think that's why people want to support them. This is the first protest that I've been to outside of Hong Kong, but I've been to almost all of them, all the way back to 1989, inside Hong Kong with millions of people. And I always feel that it's most important what people in Hong Kong do. But now at this stage, I think it's very important what you do outside of Hong Kong, also to support Hong Kong. And I think also when you communicate with people there, your friends and so on in protest, I think you need to encourage them to carry on with their protest, because they will get nothing if they ask for nothing. But also personally, I think, and I've always promoted as a human rights professor, a nonviolent approach. So I think one of the things that we need to convey more and more, because we don't want to lose international support. We know the police sort of bully people and push them around, but we don't want to get down in the mud with them. So sometimes it's a struggle not to get involved in a conflict. But my feeling is that the government in Hong Kong actually wants protesters to be seen doing violent acts, because they want the support that the protest in Hong Kong has to be withdrawn, and especially withdrawn by the international community. So I think we need to also, in our community of discourse, to talk to people and encourage them to stick with a nonviolent discipline that I think is very important to protest. And I think something that the government doesn't want them. Actually, I think the government likes that they may get involved in these conflicts. When it comes to the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act, actually I wrote a letter to Congress which has been widely circulated, and so there's a number of signature campaigns. I think in the past maybe it didn't matter as much, But because the situation is so bad right now in Hong Kong, it actually matters that there's international support. In spite of Beijing's arrogance, they know very well that they like to be recognized as a responsible country in the international system. And so the kind of support that you offer here really matters a lot for people in Hong Kong. Now, this is kind of interesting for me because I've always been able to stand, you know, in Hong Kong I write a lot. And I explain what's going on in lecture halls and on CNN and the BBC. But when it comes to speaking in a public protest, I always get to stand aside because my Cantonese-speaking colleagues are much better at it than I am. There's no language better than Cantonese for shouting in protest. And so I won't offer any shouts, but I think I want to say at least let's free Hong Kong.
There's a wonderful story that's more real, and you have to ask this question. And I was, you know, I live out in Queens, and I saw someone I see all the time. He just quite flushing. So he doesn't know me, but he goes, every time he sees me, he goes, hey, you need to fix your hair. I go, yeah, I know, right? So he saw me and he said, 喂，你係咪返去香港啊？佢話你冇返去啊，而家好亂啊，而家全部係好暴力啊。He said, don't go back to Hong Kong, it's a mess now. They've destroyed it, it's very violent. I said, no, Tony, 唔係咁㗎. So I started telling him what I see. What is the peaceful 1 million, 2 million marches? And I tell him, do you know that just last Sunday, when the police, 3個方向, a pincer move, trapped the protesters, and they had no place to go but up, 上山爬山上. And what happened? It was ordinary citizens, 普通嘅市民喺灣仔, the old buildings in 灣仔, they opened the doors. They said, 快啲走嚟，快啲入嚟，走去樓上. And every floor they went into, they saw the living rooms open. There were protesters, young people taking refuge. Every floor, every living room was full of protesters. You know what that means? It means ordinary people know the truth in Hong Kong. They see this, not this propaganda. You know what they're saying? You need to ask, why are they still supporting the front line? Why? And why is because that propaganda trying to get you to look here, like deflect, look here, it's their violence, is trying to fool us to not look there, which is massive, rampant police state violence and misuse of law, misuse of the courts, misuse of the police. That's what we need to demand, not to look at an isolated incident. We want them to deal with the structural, systemic problems. Throwing out some free money to Hong Kongers, saying you'll get housing, be quiet young people, you'll get some housing after this, is not good enough. What we want now is structural change, right? That's what it is. We want that change now. So, as you know, as those of you following Carrie Lam, the ludicrous debate is it's supposed to be the reopening of Legislative Council. Big debate. Is she going to show up? Can she do her legislative policy address, I guess from her home? I don't know, because she feels like she's scared of us. So what kind of leader is scared of the people? What kind of leader will not face people and will not answer questions on the policy address, right? She said she'll go in, but now they're scared, and now the debate is, should the Hong Kong police go into Lat Pat Wui? How can the Hong Kong police go into Lat Pat Wui? Because how can we trust the police to go into Lat Pat Wui, into the Legislative Council? So everybody watch that. That's Wednesday. We'll see what happens. Does she show up? Does she not? Does she read it from her home? The point is, we don't have to guess what she's going to say. Are any of us going to be surprised at what the chief executive is going to say? No! She's going to say the same SH something that she's been saying all along. And what she's going to say is, we have to preserve rule of law. We have to make sure that we don't have chaos. We have to return to law and order. The only thing that's destroying law and order right now and feeding it is her. She is the one who is constantly not hearing. She's not listening. So one thing she needs to do, she's not going to listen. She needs to step down. But that's not going to solve the problem, everybody, because we've had 4 or 5 completely incompetent chief executives They're incompetent. They're serving the North. They're not serving Hong Kong yet. They're not serving us. That's why we cannot end with just saying, Carrie Lam stepped down. What we have to keep our eyes on is the real ball. What's the real ball? Structural change. Genuine universal suffrage, because that's the way we'll protect ourselves. We need to elect the leaders. We need to elect the legislators. And we need to either end the functional constituencies. We haven't been talking about that. Why are the tycoons being let off the hook? Why is the economic elites being able to just say, hey, I'll give you some housing, some low-income housing if you all just shut up and go home? No, we want more than that. Is that what we want? We want more than that. Now, everyone knows here that the principle, 基本嘅原則係兄弟爬山. That is, for those of you, it just means brothers, and I should say sisters, are climbing up the mountain together. But 嗰座山係高過難過爬到 Kilimanjaro. Isn't that true? Yeah, 我哋兄弟爬山, the mountain we are climbing is harder than Mount Kilimanjaro. But did you all see what happened over the weekend? And CJ, yeah, at the Dragon Rock? Yeah, well, that's Hong Kong people. They pulled the goddess of democracy, that wonderful statue of the protester, and they dragged her up the mountain in the storm, in the wind, in the rain. And she was on top, and I saw it. I was really moved. And she's standing on top like this, whoa, But they all supported her. They got her up, and guess what? In the morning, when the dawn came, when the rain stopped, when the wind stopped, she was standing on top of the water. That's what it means for King Dai Pa San. We will do it, and we'll do it together, and it's going to be one after another after another. 加油! Let's go! 一齊加油! 加油香港!
Thank you so much everyone for being here. For those who are around us, we are from Hong Kong. These are all very beautiful Hong Kong people, Hong Kongers here, and we hope that you all will stand with Hong Kong, because this is a very global fight that Hong Kongers are fighting. This is a fight not only for Hong Kong, but also for universal values and these freedoms and human rights that we all cherish. And so if you believe in these very basic values of the human, we hope that you will join in our fight against this communist regime of the CCP, and also of any kind of suppression really towards humanity. So if you are listening around us, we hope that we can get your support and for you to join into our fight. So as one of the Hong Kongers, my name is Denise Ho. I am from Hong Kong. I'm a singer from Hong Kong, and I'm very glad to be here in New York with you all. Thank you so much. Stand with Hong Kong! Stand with Hong Kong! Fight for freedom! Fight for freedom! 香港人加油！香港人加油！香港人加油！仲有一個。